allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend McCarthy, please.
Yes, that's pretty good. Almighty God, we look to you and we bow before you. You are an awesome God, a wonderful Savior. Lord, we look to you for your blessing upon this village board and upon the village that it represents, our dear home here in Walton. Father, you are good to all, and we thank you for that. We thank you for giving your Son to reconcile men and women, boys and girls to yourself. We thank you, Lord Jesus, for laying down your life for your people. We thank you for your Holy Spirit. And Holy Spirit, Lord and giver of life, we pray that you would be with this village board tonight and each one of its members. Oh Lord, we pray that you would bless them and their families, keep them and allow them to use their gifts for the good of our village. We pray that you would prosper the individuals and families and the whole community. Lord, you have blessed us richly, and we look to you now that you would give wisdom to this village board, that you would, Lord, give them uprightness in their decisions, that all might be to your glory and to our good. For we ask it in that exalted name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. The first thing that we're going to do tonight is the abstracts. If there's any questions, please bring them up. You've had your chance to look at them. If not, I need a motion to pass them.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Bill Brown, Delaware Engineering. You're next, John.
Even our voice.
Hi, Bill.
A couple of quick updates tonight. At the wastewater treatment plant, I know John's has some more updates, but we had about 14,000 gallons of septic come in. No big invoices or purchases that we had to make. We did finish up the Seabud HVAC repairs, which was some equipment that went in the filter building in the backside of the plant to try to reduce the corrosivity of the atmosphere in there. Everything's in and up and running. We closed that out at the board meeting last month, so that one's wrapped up. Seems to be working good. Terrace Avenue was the water line on the other side of the river that we put in last fall. The contractor came back last month to do some touch-up site restoration, just put some seed mulch down. All the piping and everything was in place last fall. We had just asked them to come back in the spring, and we had actually held $2,000 of their payment until they did that. So they came back last spring, threw a little seed mulch down, so they sent their bill in. So we were asking the last payment of $2,000 to be released to GD Vincentis on the contractor for that.
I'll make a motion, we approve the...
That's done to your satisfaction?
They came down and threw some seed and mulch down. I mean, they didn't spend a lot of time there, but it also, part of the issue that they have over there is people driving on the area, so it's kind of a fight back and
Yeah,
forth.
you got a tough spot there.
So, they most of the pipe was in the roadway where they put asphalt down. It was along the edges so that, they went in a foot or two with some seed and mulch. It's going to take some time for it to grow, and if people stay off it a little bit, that'll help it.
Was there a second on that?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The last item we had is Quarry and Platt Street. We authorized to go ahead with that at last month's meeting. Got the bonds and insurance in. The contractor mobilized 2 weeks ago. The water line, the main line is in on Quarry Street. Got about 450 feet of pipe in. They'll be setting the fire hydrants tomorrow, and then it's got to be tested. Then they'll be moving to Platt Street to start the water main there. About 500 foot of pipe that goes in on Platt Street. So that one's moving along.
When should they be on Platt Street? I mean,
Probably Wednesday, depending on how tomorrow goes with the weather and whatnot. Probably Wednesday to be on Platt Street. We don't expect any shutdowns on this, probably for the next week or two. On Platt Street, they should be able to get all the main line in. And then once they go to hook the services up, that's when we'll have shutdowns.
I just have a question. On Quarry,
Yep.
they gotta test the water first.
Correct.
That takes a few days, right? to
Yeah.
get- Then when they do that, then they're gonna hook up each house individually?
Each house gets hooked individually, so each house will be shut off for a few hours, one day for a few hours. Then they'll go to their neighbor's house and proceed up the street.
Okay.
Once everybody's hooked up, then they disconnect the old water main, so there'll be a second shutdown again for a few hours, and then it's done.
Okay. Good.
So that's where we are. That's all we have.
Any other questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Mr. Moffett.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
Suppose you want to. No, that's something different. I do.
Summary page.
Yeah, this is just, again, a quick update. We need some, 2 items approved for the MBT pilot, or project. Concrete work is completed in the tank and conversion of the tank. The 2 core drill corings that we had done has also been completed. So we have 3 quotes for piping for the project. As you can see, Schmidt's was the cheapest at $36.58.88. We just need the approval to go ahead and order the piping so that I can start, as well as the isolation valves. 2 quotes. The third never sent back a quote to us. That's why we only have 2. And that's for 2 valves with a total price of $1,146 for that project.
Can we do both of them together? Okay. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The steel plates, because of the cost, we went ahead and ordered those. There's, since we're converting an old tank, we have 7 holes in the concrete that was used to keep scum off the top of the tank. They need to be plugged for the project, and that was a total cost of $420. And then on July 14th, we have company Centrisis coming in to the plant to do a sludge centrifuge. As you're aware of, we have issues with the dryness of our cake at the wastewater plant going to the landfill, and they're slowly approaching limited space at the landfill. So we're doing the best we can do to dry the cake out, which is what we're looking at doing. So they'll be here on site on the 14th, processing sludge the 15th and 16th, and then they clean up on the 17th. And we've also been in contact with Schwing Bioset. They have a screw press. They'll be on site the 28th, but we really have no other details on how long they'll be on site. I believe it's only a 1-day demonstration. On the back is just a quick update of the monthly report for the wastewater treatment plant. And as you can see, on number 7, the belt press runs, we have 19. Using the centrifuge, we have a couple of plants up north we visited, and they are running, we're getting anywhere from 10 to 14% solids. They're pulling anywhere from 20 to 35. So our loads to landfill will, hopefully, if we go this route, will drop dramatically. So
Are the centrifuge and the screw press, are those just 2 different methods?
Yep,
to see
exactly.
which is-
Right now you have a belt press.
Right.
And the life on that belt press, since we run average 5 days, it's only 12 years old, but it's really like a 20-year-old unit. In fact, they had a pretty major breakdown today with a bearing, so I think we're catching this at the right time, hopefully.
With the centrifuge, how long do they expect it the life expectancy of it? Is it more than what a belt would be?
Approximately the same time frame, they said. So you can get 20 years out of the unit, but
Okay, but it's going to be a
less
lot drier.
maintenance.
Yeah,
Yes,
less maintenance.
less maintenance, because the moving parts, the pressure on the parts are not there. We go through bearings quite a bit because we're operating at a high pressure, where this is just high speed
So it's gonna be, in the long run, a savings
savings.
all around.
Yeah.
For us hauling, how much
Yeah,
we're gonna
your-
save on
your
hauling.
tipping fees and,
The tipping
yeah,
fees and all that
exactly.
kind of stuff.
Yep.
So we could, what does it go for? I mean, price for the whole, any idea?
The centrifuge,
Yeah.
they gave us an estimate about $480,000, roughly. Now, the screw press, which we don't have a lot of information on other than what we've read. However, they gave us a cost for our unit, and it's comparable. It's in the 400 to 450 range. So,
Is any of that, can any of that be picked up by the city?
yeah, yes, it would be. So again, we'd have to be in contact, sending letters to Bob Ravallo and what have
We
you.
need to have a meeting with him still, I know,
Exactly,
to get that
right.
together.
So,
So if we can tell him that, in the long run, it's gonna be savings, it'll be good.
Sue McIntyre, Delaware County Landfill, she will be down. She's the Solid Waste Management Director. So she's gonna be down on for both demonstrations.
Let me know when she's gonna be there, I'm gonna go too.
Okay, we'll do.
For the demo, is there a way that you can do a comparison, same volume sludge going in for both of them to see which turns out?
The centrifuge will be a full-size unit. The screw press, they have I think they told us it was a 50-gallon per minute unit, so it's quite a bit smaller. We're feeding about 200 gallons a minute at the treatment plant right now. So it's going to be tough to compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
We hear the smaller units that they bring around perform better than when they're actually full scale for the screw press. But again, we don't know. So we're going to do some site visits.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my next question.
Yeah.
Great.
Have you heard what the screw presses are? What's the percentage? Is it relative to the same as the centrifuge?
On paper, yes, they show the same, but again, we haven't spoke to any operators that have them. There's one in Smithtown, Long Island, and that operator, it was a BDP, and he's not happy with it. But he said it could be chemicals. It might be his polymers aren't correct for his sludge. But he said he's only pulling 15 to 16 with it.
That's not.
That's not
No
gonna help
comparison.
you
If you're gonna spend that kind of money, you need to go up in the high 20s
Yes.
to make it worthwhile.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So if we switch, when will we switch it, like in a month or two, or are we
Oh,
talking
no.
6 months, a year?
within the year. It will take a little engineering to get it in, piping changes and what have you, but nothing.
I'll tell Jim to get working.
Well, I'll try to keep him at work Monday through Friday from now on if I can. Yeah, that's all I have. If anybody, if somebody has something else.
Thank you.
No? Okay, thanks.
Thanks, John.
Take care, Jim.
Yeah.
Chief?
Evening, everybody. Everybody's got my monthly report. Any questions, concerns?
I'm going to ask if there are 4 DWI arrests, so this will increase our stop DWI money for the...
Revenue, yes. Yes.
I know you explained it before, but remember you're dealing with a slow learner here. AUO?
Aggravated unlicensed operation.
Thank you.
They have no license, but they chose to drive. Anyways.
That's the Fonzie thing. Hey, you.
Yeah.
Would you believe me, I was too young to know who Fonzie was?
No, I wouldn't believe that.
That's worth a try.
I wouldn't buy that either.
I noticed that there are a lot of support to mental health trips down to Bennington. Is that out of the ordinary?
It fluctuates month to month. We take them to Binghamton or Cooperstown, one, either one. I mean, this month seemed to be, or last month seemed to be more exception than the rule.
Yeah.
I know that kind of issue was a concern when they talked about closing the mental health unit in Cooperstown. Bassett was the police transports, and did they have the manpower to cover the increase that they expected?
Yep. My understanding, though, Bassett Hospital is going to be staying open. They're not closing that right away. That's staying open. So, I mean, each officer's got a preference. I prefer to go there. You know, some other guys prefer to go Binghamton. It's about the same distance, so.
Brian, what's an interlock device?
When you're convicted of a DWI offense, you have to put a device on your car that you have to blow into to make sure you're not intoxicated before you can start the car, before the car will start.
Okay,
And
so,
that has to, and this person chose to drive intoxicated in a car that did not have that, even though he was mandated to have it.
Oh, okay.
I have a question, I forgot to ask you before, I should have thought of it, but sex offenders.
Yes.
If we have sex offenders, I'm not talking about just at the facility, up there by the dump. If sex offenders live in the village or the town, they're always supposed to register, right?
They're supposed to register their change of address with us,
With the
if
PD,
within the
right?
village, or if it's in the township with the sheriff's department.
Here's my real question. When sex offenders are living in a location, does the sheriff's department or whatever department let you know, here's a list of guys that are living within, or is it just up to them?
We get pretty much the same card that everybody else does in the village, the card that shows, you know, this one's living here or there or wherever.
Oh, okay. So we keep a record of that?
We
so-
I have to keep track of that.
Okay. Someone had asked you about it, I just double check it. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, while I'm here, I have a candidate for hire as a part-time police officer. It's a female by the name of Marina Berganoff. I neglected to make some copies, but this is her resume. If you would choose, pretty impressive resume.
oh,
It's
there's
all,
only one. Oh,
yes.
okay. I see.
She's currently works at Colchester PD part-time. Again, I'd like to hire her here part-time.
There's no, for part-timers, no restriction on where they live or anything like that,
No,
Brian?
no. So this girl lives in the Cooperstown area, but she has assured me that she's not afraid to travel here and to work here and work, you know, pretty much, she has a full-time job, so I can't work her, days but she's the late afternoon or evening shifts.
She works in Colchester.
Part-time,
And where's she from?
Cooperstown. She is part of the security team at Bassett Crisis.
Oh, okay.
So, and she's very eager to come to work here. I've talked to several other officers that know her. She is a go-getter, very, very good, and I would like to be able to hire her with the board's approval.
I would make the motion that we hire her.
Do I have a second on that?
Can we, I'll be honest with you, I like to have time to study the resume. So can we,
We can't put it off, we need to do it tonight, Charlie. I mean,
Okay.
we can do it later, but, I mean,
Yeah,
she's
well-
been vented by a lot. And Chief
Yeah.
spent time, I've looked at her, I've talked to her. I mean, and we really need somebody to work.
yeah, I just don't like getting blindsided by, oh, here's a resume, vote to program. That's unfair to us to not have time to consider someone.
Well, you can hold off on your vote if you want, if you're entitled to.
Need a second.
Huh?
We still need a second.
Does anyone want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll oppose it until I have a chance to.
Okay, fine. No problem. Okay, passed.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, you're gonna hang around for later? We're gonna
Yes.
talk about personnel in
Yes.
executive session?
Yes.
Okay.
Chief, one more thing. I gotta tell you, I'm really disappointed. If it's this hot, it should have been to all the board members before. There's no doubt that she's qualified, but, I mean, that's wrong. That's poor planning on your part.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Steve?
Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
You have my monthly report,
Yes, thank you.
and as you can see in the packet, I have printouts from 2 different programs. I'm trying to transition to the new program. I went ahead and obviously started using it, and I wanted to get a printout to you guys to see the information in that format, and if there's any information you would like to see differently. I have a lot of options with this.
I do like the additional information on what the permits are.
Yeah, and I actually just, when I was setting up or doing the town's monthly, I noticed that I had the ability to do that, that I didn't know that I had before, so I went ahead and put that in there, because it does, I find it frustrating sometimes if it just says renovation and it doesn't say exactly what, then
Right.
I have to go back and pull the permit, but if I do the report this way, then I don't have to guess. And if you'll notice, like on the complaints, the CO searches that I do, for whatever reason, when they set the program up, both here and at the town, that's where CO searches get entered in. So they always show up in the complaint section. It's not really a complaint, it just shows up
Okay.
there. For lack of a better place to put it, basically. So, and then the coding there, C is closed and O is open, so you can see which violations I'm still working on, or complaints that I'm still working on, whatever.
Is this Shepherd Street property, is that owner occupied, or is that a rental unit?
That is owner occupied. And he should be getting down to the cutoff date in terms of having it mowed. As a matter of fact, it was probably today, so. I have to send him one once a year, just to remind him.
Okay.
So that's that on the reports. Obviously, if, you know, as you look at them, if you think there's other information I can supply to you, let me know, and I'll try to get it on there.
Thank you.
See, that's great, thanks. You've got one high grass and weeds. Then does the village crew mow it, or what happens with it when you got what happens?
Usually with the grass and weeds, I'll go out solely for the purpose of canvassing the entire village, looking for grass and weeds,
Oh, okay.
send them their notice. Occasionally, I'll get one that I missed or whatever, somebody will let me know, you know, I'll go check it out, send them their 10-day letter. Either way, if we end up having to deal with it, it's contracted out.
Okay.
And I'll go out and, you know, seek bids and hire it done.
And then, so then they keep not mowing it. We just kind of keep, and I don't mean it badly, isn't it?
Right.
Just from information, we just keep mowing the lawn and.
First, yep, the first time is a 10-day notice. Second time in any calendar year is a 7-day notice. Okay, so all subsequent times, they would have 7 days instead of 10 days to mow their lawn. And if they don't do it, once I have a bid on a place, you know, if there's a repeat offender, then it's just, I call, you know, whoever won the bid and say, you know, go mow it. There's no sense in rebidding that one at that
Is the
point.
bid process a lengthy process?
No, well, I mean, I've got 10 days to deal with it
That
anyway,
quick a turnaround,
or 7
okay.
days, yeah. Usually it's, I can have bids back in 24 to 48 hours,
okay.
depending on how loud I scream on the phone, how desperate I sound when I call them.
You're not looking at newspaper notification?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good.
All right. Should I bring up 11? Do 11 now?
Oh, yeah, go ahead and get it.
Okay. 11 Liberty Street, I had scheduled the owner of that property for a hearing this evening. I think I talked to you at the last special meeting that we had, or emergency meeting, or whatever it was that we had. And lo and behold, you know, at the 11th hour, I got a phone call from him today.
Surprise.
The same thing happened with it last year. Last year it was, he was gonna come up and, he'd already measured for windows, he was gonna come up and put windows in and start prettying it up. This year, it's, well, in a couple of years, I'm gonna tear it down. And I've been up there every 2 weeks to mow the lawn. I said, no, you haven't, because I've been by there religiously, and he may have mowed the lawn once, because I see it did get mowed somewhere in the interim, and I have no idea who did it. But the front lawn anyway. The back lawn is still a jungle. The window is still wide open on the second floor. The porch is still falling off the place, et cetera, et cetera. So, and of course, he was, begging for forgiveness. I said, well, I will let the board know of our conversation, which I just did, and, the board can take it from there. He swears up and down he'll be back up within this week to finish mowing the back lawn and board up all the windows. And basically, quite frankly, his threat to me was, well, it's going to look like a construction site because I'm going to come board up all of the windows. I said, you know what? That's fine. Then I know that it's secure. It won't be the most attractive thing in the world, but then I know it's secure, and I know no more second floor windows are going to fall out in the neighbor's driveway.
Yeah, I've got a few phone calls from the neighbors complaining about that, afraid to get out of their cars or walk out that the windows are gonna fall down.
No.
So, what can we do? What,
I guess the ball's in your court to some degree. I mean, if you want to wait 7 days to see if he actually shows up and does what he said he was going to do, that's fine. If you want to basically
let's
order
go
me
with
to
that
go,
scenario. If we wait 7 days and he doesn't show up, then what?
then we go take care of it ourselves. We go finish mowing the jungle out back, and we contract to have somebody go board up all the windows, and at least we know it will be secure and halfway respectable looking at that
Is
point.
his taxes paid?
I don't know.
They ring a bell?
I believe they are.
Yeah, okay.
What's the address?
11 Liberty Street.
I mean, my inclination would be if it's, I don't know who we're talking, I know where we're talking about, I don't know who we're talking about, but either to wait the 7 days, what's another 7 days, and then the 8th day, that's it, done, no, and then no more 7 days after that. It's just almost,
Well, we kind of have to take them,
step by step.
an instance at a time. So, I mean, if we're talking lawn and windows at this point to make it sanitary and secure, okay? So if we address that on this go-round, whether he does it or we do it, whichever, then that kind of kills the issue at that point.
There's no other violation.
Right, there's no other violations, whatever. So then if something happens again, then we'd kind of start the process again.
Well, then, how many times have we waited 7 days at his request? Maybe we're.
Well, we addressed this last year, and I want to say it was basically the same scenario, if memory serves me. It was, I'll be there within a week and take care of it, which he did do.
So can we make a motion that if on day 8 from today, it isn't completed, then you
Then we can
hire
have him
somebody to do
contract.
it?
Absolutely.
Rather than, because otherwise we either have to have a special meeting or wait until next month.
Right.
So we're gonna secure the windows and mow the backyard.
Right.
Right.
Anything to the porch?
There's not much really that, he did remove the steps from the porch, so they're not easily accessible.
So
Okay, that's good.
I would say today, Monday is really over, so if we give him 7 days from tomorrow, then it would be a week from Wednesday, that if it isn't completed by then, we'll take care of it.
Right.
Okay, I don't know the date offhand.
Are you going to call him and tell him this?
I will give him a phone call back and let him know that he has 7 days to do it, or we will.
Okay.
This is today.
Today's, today's 7th.
Okay. So the 16th. 16th of July.
Better write
So we're
that
gonna make
down.
motion that if it's not done by the 16th of July, then Steve will then have it mowed and blocked, the windows secured.
Yes.
Correct?
At-
Were you
at the
making that
homeowner-
motion?
Yes, I am, at the homeowner's expense.
Need a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And just to let you know, in this past week, I condemned 14 Howell Street for some pretty substantial electrical issues. That was at the beginning of last week. At this point, as of Thursday afternoon, they were waiting on NYSEG to get back. They'd hired a contractor. They came in. Basically, it was a six or seven apartments in there, all running on 3 meters. Had some pretty serious issues. You turn the lights on in one apartment, they go dim in the other apartment, kind of a thing.
Lucky there's no fires.
Yeah, they got a contractor in there. They were splitting everything up, putting in 1 meter, 1 service per apartment, getting it done correctly. As of Thursday afternoon, they were basically waiting on NYSEG, and it was a gamble as to whether they were going to make it to put 3 meters back in, because they basically took care of the 3 easiest apartments to get them back online. And then I also closed down 10 Griswold Street. There was 1 tenant left in there. She was in the process of moving out. The water bill had not been paid. Owner is impossible to contact. The tenant has not had contact with the owner in 6 or 8 months, with various issues and trying to get things taken care of. So that'll be another one that I'm going to go back and check. She was going to try to be out of there. This was Thursday, I think I talked to her. She was going to try to be out of there over the weekend. I got to go back and check, make sure that she is in fact out of there, and I'll call NYSEG and have the electric shut off to that place, and make sure that it's secure. I understand that the owner is basically walking away from his properties here.
Properties.
Property here, more than one
Properties, yes,
in the village?
yes.
It just seems like the minute you try and clean up one, you get 3 more to sprout up.
Yeah,
I mean,
well.
just- Okay.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's all I got.
I gotta say that I drive around the village every morning. I'm out at 6 o'clock and I drive around the whole village. This is one of the best I've seen the village look in a long time, so they're doing a good job as far as the grass. And I think there are more people are taking interest, and I'm glad. I gotta thank people for doing that. So, thank you also.
You're welcome.
I go at 8:30 just to back you up.
I know you and your second dream at that time.
Yeah, but you're still in your PJs.
Sitting on the porch having coffee, tea. Roger, please, Mr. Height. Wait. Mr. Happy.
How you doing, all right?
Good evening.
Hi, Roger.
Good evening.
I don't have much, and just the monthly report if everybody out got it. Finally this morning, remember to send it out.
How's the new street sweeper now that you've had it for a while? Happy with it?
It works very well. The only issue we have is finding the manpower to run it. Other than that, it seems to be working very, very well. I wish we could have, because there's areas that we haven't even touched yet this year that I wish that we could get out there. The mechanic's been coming in running it.
Yeah, I was behind him the other day, and it was amazing. I was behind him, and I'm looking at the street, and I couldn't believe how good it looked. It cleans really, really good.
Yeah, and
the old one, it always left debris underneath it, so it looked like it wasn't done.
And it cleans a very wide path, so you're not doing as many, trips. So, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep, it works great.
I saw the work that the guys have done over at Lower Bassett Park in the field. Did a nice job on that.
I
Please let them
appreciate
know
that.
thank you.
As far as I know, we're done. The concrete's in, and we've finally came to an agreement on how everything is going to be shaped. And as far as I know,
That's
our
our
end of it is done.
commitment.
The only other thing I'm not sure of is I know there's a flagpole donated. I really don't know the location of where that's going to be yet. I don't know who's making that decision.
Well, we will make the decision when it's time, but I think me personally, I feel that we should have the gazebo up and see how it looks, and then we can place it. Because the flagpole, you can do in one day, it's not a big thing. The chamber, well, you can do it. Not we, you, I mean, we in the village, I mean, figuratively speaking.
Oh, I thought you had an idea.
No, you had the idea, that's your department. But the chamber has donated the money, the flagpole, thank you again. So, I'm thinking, if you put it up now, and they gotta work around and put, it's probably just gonna get in the way, so I'm thinking that it'd be better,
Right.
let the gazebo go up and then we can always put it in.
See where the entrance areas are.
Now that we find out where the entrance is, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Right. I really don't have much to
Okay.
report. I mean, it's just,
Nice.
The, installed the gates at the police department, what kind of,
originally, the original plan, when they ran the sidewalk down the side of the police department, we wanted to put gates here so it's not a public access walkway. But what we were starting to run into was a lot of public foot traffic walking through there and then going through where our shop is. Which the concern is, what happens if one of our guys or, you know, it's actually, you know, it's kind of a bad situation. It's a construction site and then you got a body shop right there. What happens if somebody gets hit in the parking lot? So we finally put the gates up and it seems to be working quite well as far as I know.
good?
Brian, can you,
Foot traffic's almost non-existent down through there now from where I live.
Well, it's locked anyway, right?
No.
Not locked, or just,
And it's, but, you know, not only that, but I've been waiting for the graffiti and everything else to go with it. This is gonna deter a lot of stuff. And as far as I know, it's deterred quite well.
okay. Okay,
thank you.
That's all I.
Thank you.
I don't have any. All right.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Now we'll have the item 3, the public input. If anyone in here would like to have a few minutes of time, please raise your hand, say your name and address, and we'll give you some time. Yes?
I'm Scott Jackson, 459 Walton Road.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
I would just like you to reconsider honoring Kathy Shelton with a sign down at field number 2 to just say thank you for 18 years of service. There's no cost to the village, it's all on us. I think she's earned it. And what's come back to me, I'm not sure if it's true, because you can tell me, that you were worried about precedent being set. If that's true, precedent's already been set with names. Boston Lincoln Park, Hoover Field, John Meredith Building, things like that. I think nobody that I know has given more to 13 and under-year-old kids than Kathy Shelton in the last 18 years. She'd like to retire. Every one of the guys is going to take over. We'd just like to say thank you. And I'd like you to reconsider. Let us do that.
Maybe there is a misunderstanding. We didn't say that you couldn't put anything down, we said you couldn't put it on the village property. You could put a plaque on the building, you could put a plaque on the fence, you could put a plaque on the board, the score, the big score thing. You could do all that because that's all yours. It's not that we're saying you can't put anything down there. It's just we don't have it on the property per se. And what would be the problem with that? Because I noticed up at where they play the Booster Club, they have a plaque on the building itself, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
When you say not on the property, what we
What?
wanted to do was put it in dead center field by the flagpole, mounted on 2 6x6 posts. That's it. That's all the room is going to take up.
But that's different. That's actually putting it in the ground on the I mean, why couldn't you put it on the building, or why couldn't you put it on the fence, or why couldn't you put it on the scoreboard or something like that, or hang it from there, or do something like that?
I'm sure we can figure something out if we can do that with the board.
Yeah, you can. I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Putting on the fence would be it's a 6x2 blue stone. So
It's too heavy.
We'd
Okay.
have to secure the weights on that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you already have fence posts in,
Right.
so you wouldn't consider the 2 6x6 posts, but you're telling me I can put it on the building?
Well, because the building is yours. We've, right? Am I misunderstanding? I mean, you feel the same way? And the building is not ours,
It's
right?
on our property.
I
But the
don't
building
know.
is on our
I think
pro-
we put insurance on it.
Did we? But it's their building, isn't it?
I don't have an answer to that.
I think it's belongs to the, what do you call, who, I don't know, the Little League building.
I guess maybe my
I
concern
think it's called-
is that
called that, but I think-
no doubt she's contributed a lot to the community. But so did Larry Regas, who headed the community basketball league for years and years, and Carl Foster, who used to be the head of the Little League when I was growing up for years and years. So there's been people who have contributed a lot to the community that haven't been honored. Hoover Field, that's a high school issue, and if they want to do that, that's their jurisdiction. But for the village to start saying, well, this one person will honor, well, then that opens us up to, well, what about somebody wants to change the name or put something on? I just,
Well, with all due respect, sir, what's wrong with honoring people who have done such good things for the village? What's wrong with it? I don't mean to be disrespectful at all,
Certainly.
understand me, but what's wrong with doing it?
but, and we're trying to reach a compromise with you. that
Absolutely.
Maybe on the
I
side of the
do
building,
appreciate
but to name a village field after one particular individual when others have contributed a lot over the years, why isn't it Carl Foster Field, or why isn't there a sign to Carl Foster? Why isn't, how about Larry Regas, who did so much?
When I wasn't around there, maybe somebody should have honored them. You know, there's
So-
probably no doubt about it.
And in between then, there's been lots of folks that have contributed a lot, so we put ourselves at risk that if we do that, and I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve it, please don't take that. My concern, though, is once we do this, then we can open up a floodgate for, oh, well, you know, you said 20 years that she's done it?
18, I believe.
18, okay, so 18, so, well, Cousin Mordecai's done it for 15, does that count? Or, you know, where do you draw the line? I don't know, maybe there's some precedence in past history that I'm not aware of. But that's what our concern is, that if you want to put something on your building, that may be the compromise, but
Would that include our backstop, is that ours?
I don't think so. I think that was, I don't know.
I don't know, I mean,
I'm thinking that the posts on the backstop are strong enough to carry that stone, is what I'm thinking.
we never, I haven't been around that long, I mean, to see who constructed that, but I'm thinking that probably the Little League people did that.
Right,
They
but they
built
would
that-
have, should have had permission from the board to
To
put
put
it
it-
on our field in
Okay.
our park, so it's probably our buildings.
And if we have a
Because we
problem
put
there,
insurance
we're
on those
once
buildings.
sued.
Well, how about the thing that he's talking about, the
Backstop.
backstop? If they built the backstop, do we own the backstop too? Do we have insurance on the backstop?
It's our park.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm just
So, I
saying,
mean, yes, they may have raised the money and they may have put that stuff there, but it's still our park.
I understand that. But I'm going the same scenario, I'm not, go
I
to the
don't know how
booster,
to
go to the
answer
booster
you.
building, they have a plaque there, I saw it. It was put up there, it's technically our park and our building, but the plaque is there. So someone had to give permission for that, right? You know what I mean? I'm,
Also, the park itself is named Austin Lincoln. I mean, that's when somebody else did it, I'm sure.
Bill Austin was the former mayor of Walton.
You know, and, you know, John
Yeah,
Merritt.
I don't-
You know,
I don't
just-
answer that.
John Mayer.
I don't,
That's the Chamber of Commerce little building over by the top.
Ah, okay, thank you.
and the town pool is named after somebody.
yeah, that was.
And again, so the town, you know, what they
The
decided to
mayor
do.
who died,
Right,
Jack Kelly, yeah, that
But
was.
just technically, I know it's in the village, but
You said no, you should leave
the
it.
entire town has Little League kids in there. You know.
The entire town's had Little League kids for years,
I understand that.
Back when I had hair.
way back.
I've been involved with it myself.
On the
for
ground,
I was with them
you don't
for
think
20
it's a
something.
difference.
I don't think there's much difference.
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, what does everybody think? What do you want to do?
I agree with what you said initially. If they're the ones who raised the money for the building, or, you know, that wall that you have with the advertising on it, then those are two places I would think.
Because I'm thinking that even though we own the property, we gave you permission to put the building and the backstop and everything on it. And if the Little League doesn't exist anymore, then you're gonna take your backstop in your building and leave. I mean, the backstop, They can't?
It's there, it's,
It can't be taken out?
Yes.
Why can't it be taken out?
because those fields aren't just for the Little League. They're used for other.
Did we always have that,
also.
that was always been up there, the backstop and everything?
There's been something there for years, hasn't there?
When I was a boy, we
If
used to
you,
play.
in all due respect, again, if you would read the article, I was in a Walton report, and you get the history of what she's done, and that field was not there.
We're not disputing what she's done. We're just, what we're trying to talk about is how long the backstop's been up in the building and
Yeah, well,
all
that's
that.
kind of in the article. I don't know, not
Did-
exact dates and things like that.
Did it say in there when,
She was
Well, when
responsible for getting all of
we
that.
were little, there was a field there.
Yeah, I used to play when I was,
Right.
so,
Yeah, I know my
So-
children all played too, and that was before her time, so those things were there.
We played softball there.
okay. You can remember back that far?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Once comes with this, I can.
I had to throw something at you. So what do you suggest that we do? Okay, quiet
Me, I
down.
agree with Charlie.
And with that? That we don't,
I just don't wanna open something up if, then I can see going back, well, so-and-so was such and such. If you wanna put it on the backstop or something like that,
you don't have a problem with
I don't have a problem with it.
it? Okay.
Okay,
You got that,
I can accept that, absolutely, yes.
okay.
It's bluestone?
It's a nice piece of bluestone, yes. I can show a picture of it.
Sure, I just have seen bluestone put up in other places, and it's so heavy that invariably it ends up falling off, or you know, whatever it's on, whether...
You have my word, it will not fall.
Okay.
It will be professionally
I
done.
don't think you should do it. We're still in the unanswered questions. The pool was what?
We could always make it take it down.
Either that or wait, whatever.
Well, we have the other building with the plaque on it. It's over there. The booster building.
Yeah, that plaque is from 6x6.
No, I know.
Yeah. So is this a question for the insurance company?
And maybe the attorney too, I don't know. We're probably gonna have to look back in minutes and,
So
Isn't,
maybe we just need to table it for now?
Small guys football building, that belongs to the village.
I don't know the answer to
Yeah, I
that.
hadn't seen that.
Okay. Thanks.
We can double check with the lawyers and make sure there's no, the insurance company?
Well, it's probably good to find out for,
Yeah.
I mean,
Future.
totally unrelated to the specific recognition, just for future reference for us or future board of who owns what, and who does, and if we don't own it, what right or obligation or responsibility do we have? Sort of a broader question it brings up.
Right, if it's
Future
put on the
reference.
side of the building and something happens to the building now, who's responsible for repairing it, us or you?
There is, what, the
Because-
building or the stone?
Yeah, if you put the stone on the side of the building, and it's too heavy and something happens to the building, now who's responsible? We're the ones carrying insurance on it,
Do you have any?
It's kind of
So
a-
I believe we're responsible for that building
Yes.
as is now, aren't we?
except that we're paying the insurance.
But we pay insurance on
We
it.
pay the electric and,
We pay the electric, we pay the insurance on it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Did you eliminate the backstop area? Because that would be in for the backstop.
Where would it go on the backstop? I mean, is it gonna block the view of people who are watching
Oh,
the game?
absolutely not.
So where would it go?
Don't know yet, I'll go look at it.
Oh, okay.
But it will definitely, it's not gonna, nobody
Okay.
watches the game from the backstop except us,
Okay.
from behind the backstop
Yeah,
of the
go all
building.
the way up here.
Yeah, no, you've just brought, you didn't bring it up, but this just brings up other related issues about who owns what and
I
who's responsible,
totally understand what you're
just for
saying.
our knowledge down the road.
Totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
I-
suggest at this point we table it, because we need to talk to the insurance company and to our attorneys to
appreciate
make
that.
sure
And just
it's,
give us, you leave your number and everything so we can call you up and
Absolutely.
let you know as soon as we find out from the insurance. As far as, I don't think, I think we agree if there's not an issue with the insurance company or something like that, back stuff I think will be okay, right? Is that what you figure?
and as long as the understanding is that if there's some graffiti against it, you know, somebody does graffiti on it, then
That's
it's
on you.
your responsibility to restore it.
And I would like to chime in just with one thing from a floodplain perspective. That is an active floodplain. That park is serving its purpose well that way. And you've kind of talked your way through it to utilize whatever's existing there, but, again, for future reference, a couple of 6x6s in and of themselves probably aren't going to affect the floodplain. But if, at every board meeting we're letting 2 more 6x6s go in, pretty soon, we've built a fence of 6x6s on a floodplain, and that's not good management either. So
Okay.
utilizing existing structures would be the best way to go.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so what do we do now? Give me my name and number. Okay, Scott Jackson,
You got it?
Yep, just,
865-8720.
okay.
Okay. We'll check with the attorney and insurance company. We'll get back to you. How's that?
All right, I appreciate
Okay?
your time.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you.
It'll
very
be a
good.
little while.
Yeah. Anyone else care to say anything during the public input? Speak now or forever. No.
I would just like to remind you that this coming Monday is the next concert in the park.
Okay.
From 6 to 8, and Country Express will be playing.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, then we'll go to number 4, trustee reports. I think we'll start with you today.
I don't have anything. I think Roger covered everything that I had to say.
Sure, you got it made. You got Roger. He covers you all the time.
Well, that's
Thank you.
covered.
Yeah, yeah. Dave, anything from you?
I had thought Roberta was gonna be here on this, it started out as a beautification committee. We've had a couple meetings. We met most recently on June 24th. Decided definitely not to call it the beautification committee. We're looking at either Walton Pride or Pride in Walton is the official name of the committee. We're gonna decide on that once and for all at the next meeting. We're looking at the possibility of residential property of distinction with a recognition of some sort to follow. And we're looking at how often that would be done, how it would be decided, who would decide, those sorts of things. Maybe a photo, an article in the paper, we'll see, and possibly a business of distinction later on when we see how that goes over. Wendy Jackson is looking into having a good-sized wooden plaque made, engraved, a logo of sorts they're developing, and that would go to the property of distinction and would sort of be travel and depending on the location. Roberta is contacting Molly Oliver at Steve's suggestion, the county planner, and we're optimistic about that being a big help down the road. Steve is helping on contacting other villages that we're aware of, Victor, Canandaigua, Casanova, where they were not in such great shape visually 10, 15, 20 years ago, and now are just a real show place driving down Main Street. And how did they get there? Was it simply community pride? Was it a grant? How did they pull that off? And so we're looking into that to see. Most of those places are bigger than Walton or in a more affluent area to begin with, but still to see if there's something they did that we could build on, play with. Some initial talk about the possibility of some sort of a neighborhood watch program, but that's in its infancy at best. There are different types of programs, some national programs that you can tie into. Wendy's going to look into that to see what's available, if it's even appropriate. They'd like to develop a mission statement with some goals. Mary Haffel is going to look into that. And they'll be talking to Brittany and or Jody about developing a link to the village's website electronically, so you can go to the village website and tie in with the committee and see what's going on. They scheduled 2 meetings, July 10th and 24th, both at 6:30 right here, and they just scheduled 2 meetings ahead so people would know. But July 10th and 24th, 6:30 p.m. right here. That's it.
Thank you. Charlie?
One of the things that's been coming up around the village is concerned with the proliferation of sidewalk sales. And the folks are concerned about the appearance as people come into town, merchandise being placed on the street, on the sidewalks, blocking the sidewalks, hard for people to get through. And also people coming down the intersection from Bridge Street to Delaware Street, seeing around the corner with merchandise on the corner. So one of the things that we're working on is coming up with a proposed change to the village code that would prohibit merchandise being placed for sale more than 4 foot from the individual buildings. And also possibly looking at a distance of maybe 10 foot from the curb, making that a clear zone. Already there are some street signs that are in the state right-of-way along the highway. But again, trying to enhance the visibility for people passing through, the walkability for people walking through. So this is one of the things that we're working on. Steve and I have been trying to pull something together. We'll run it by the village lawyer to get his input on it to make sure that we're going in the right direction. That's the first part. And the second part is that there would be no overnight merchandise. The merchandise that's put out during the day for sale would be brought in at night. So no overnight merchandise that's left out there for a long time. So these are a couple things that we're looking at. The folks in the village will hear more about it as we go forward, and the board members as well. And of course, the third part of this, though, would be one, merchandise limitations on close to the building, clearing the sidewalk, merchandise not being left overnight, and finally there'll be a fine that would go along with those violations. So that's one of the things that Steve and I have been working on.
Yeah, but we can't do that until we have it.
You're not even, so you're not
No,
prepared
just,
yet?
no. Where my plan ahead on this is pull this together, run it by the lawyer, come back, present it to the board. If the board's
Then we'll do a
comfortable,
hearing.
then a public hearing,
Okay.
and then decide after that.
Okay.
But just wanted to let y'all know where we're going with that. And that's all I have.
Teresa?
The Recreation Committee, the programs have started and are very well attended. And as a result, we would like to hire some additional help. We have Candy Russell, who is the swimming lesson supervisor, and she'll be working part-time, and her fee would be $12 an hour. We have a boy named Dylan Fisk from Downsville, who will be a lifeguard, and he's a swim instructor, and he would be hired at $10 an hour. And, excuse me, Joshua Astor, who would be lifeguard only, and his fee would be $9 an hour. And we have lost one lifeguard already. A girl who is going to nursing school, and she has a summer internship, so we can use the extra help. So I would make a motion that the board approve hiring these 3 people.
I need a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, and that's all I have.
Okay.
Judy goes for you, we'll go back to that.
Okay. Next one, Mayor Report. I have a couple things. First thing, I got a letter I want to read. Dear trustees, I am the leader of a Walton-based 4-H group, the Crafty Kids. Each year, the club chooses a service project in order to give back to the community. This year, the members have voted to clean up the graffiti and profanity covering the play structure at Lower Bassett Park. We are writing this letter to seek your permission and assistance in completing the project. The assistance we are seeking is in advice on the best way to go about such removal. Since much of the structure is wood, this may involve sanding or painting. The club has been awarded a grant in the amount of $100. We plan to use this money to purchase any supplies necessary. Any additional funds can be raised with fundraisers and perhaps donations. If it pleases the board, the club would like to finish this project by summer's end. Thank you for your consideration. Janice Backus Forster, 4-H Club, volunteer.
I spoke with Brian Sprague about this because that's his purview, and he has already spoken to Mrs. Foster. And I would make the motion to allow them to do that as long as they are in touch with Brian. He needs to supervise the the work that they're doing and how they go about it.
Okay. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I think it's terrific that we have folks in the village who are willing to jump in like this, and kudos to Mrs. Foster and her 4-H group for caring enough about the village to be able to do that.
Okay, I have a couple things else I want to bring up. As you know, we pick up the brush around the village. We're going to need to address this a little bit more, because at one time, we used to do it a couple times a year. Now it seems like every day people are throwing brush out. And as soon as the guys pass, they look like they're hiding in the backyard, and they come out and throw another pile. So, I mean, we need to address it with Roger and the DPW crew, because we don't have the manpower to have 2 guys every day running around picking up brush throughout the village. I understand it's tough to get rid of, you can't go to the dump, but we need to have some kind of structure so that maybe we'll do it once a month or twice a month. I don't know what we're going to do, but for now, the main thing that we're having a problem with is people need to tie up their brush. They're just taking stuff and throwing it out there. You need to throw it no more than 3 foot wide and tie it up, and all the stuff has to be in clear plastic bags. There are people putting black ones out there and pink ones and orange and all different colors. And we need to have some kind of conformity. So I would ask the public to please tie up your brush, whatever you're putting out, and what you're putting in bags, clear plastic bags. And we'll go on further once we discuss it board-wise what we want to do as far as the pickup. But try and work with us and make it easier for the crew, because I'm going to tell them, if it's not done that way, we're not going to pick it up. And if they think you can just leave it there, then I'm going to speak to the code guy, and it'll be fine. I don't want to do that, but we need to work together. I mean, you're cutting the grass, you're helping look better that way, but if you just throw all your junk out in front and leave it, it just creates a big headache for everybody. And we only got a 6-man crew, 5-man, 6 with Roger. We have too many things to do. We can't go by and just spend all day picking a brush. So I'd ask you to please consider that when you're doing things. The second thing I want to talk about is DOT notified me today. I went on Facebook and told everybody, but I want to let it know here that they're not going to start the project on Delaware Street today like I thought they were. They were going to do all the handicap access to the sidewalks, but there's motion detectors that are put in for blind people and things like that. And DOT has specific regulations, and they have to be cast iron, and the ones they have are not. So they have to reorder them, and as you may have it, it's going to take 6 weeks to get them in. So no sidewalks are being done, no paving is going to be done until after the fair. It may end up being good, I don't know, but not until at least the 18th of August can we get any kind of work done. We'll get it done this year, so you just need to have a little bit more patience. There's nothing more we can do about it. I've made a lot of phone calls, and it's out of our control. So we're going to hopefully try and see if we can get some of the streets paved in the street, our streets, that if we can. Roger's in trying to get that done now. So I just want everybody to be aware of that, and we're trying. We just can't do it. And one other thing I want to talk about, we have a new website now. It's been revamped, and Brittany has put a lot of work into it. I want to thank her. Thank you, Brittany, for all your work. One of the issues we're having is a lot of the business were handed the sheets to fill out and to go on the website and just give all the information. I mean, Brittany, you know how many you got back so far? Very few, right?
There's maybe 10 to 15 at this point.
I mean, we probably, I personally handed out at least 60 or 70 of these sheets to all the business myself and asked them. And we got 10 or 15. It's free advertisement. And you have all the links to all the other sites, so I would just urge all the businesses that have them, take 5 minutes and go to the website on the thing, and you can enter the information, and Brittany will download it. And if you go on the new website, every time you go on, there's a business that's highlighted while you're on there. And if you go off and come back, there'll be a new one on there. So it's a good thing. Why not? It's free, it's great, and take a picture of your business, and some of them have been putting the information with no picture. Take a picture, download it, put it on there. A lot of people from the city, they come up, they go to the websites and see what's going on, so that might be a good idea. And if you have any activities coming up, we have an activities page too, let us know so we can put it on there. And that's all I have.
Could I say something before we,
Sure you can.
I was in so many other things here. But I'd like to thank the DPW, Roger Hoyt and the DPW for the great job they've done with the concrete work for the new gazebo in the area surrounding it. It's been a challenging job here, but they have come through as usual. So
As usual.
I just wanted to make that point.
Yes.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank the crew.
Where'd you get the tan?
Out in the sun trying to put the cement down for the gazebo. Tell me, yeah.
Yeah, glare off the concrete.
Mixing concrete.
Okay, next thing we'll go to is number 6, to set the water department fees.
I gave the trustees and yourself all a list of the fees. Most of these were in the code in the past, spelled out in the code. When we redid the water rates, we took that out and now it's says in the code as set for the board. So now we're setting the rates. So then we won't have to go through the process of updating the code every time we need to change them.
Do you know the last time when these original ones were set? How long ago that was? No.
Before I got here in 2006, so.
Okay. Well, I would make the motion that we change the fees and adopt the proposed fee as
Second.
indicated.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And will these be posted also on the website?
We can do that.
Okay, number 7, budget revisions.
Any more questions?
I think everybody's had a chance to take a look at them. Any questions? Do I need a motion?
I'll move that we accept the revisions as presented.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8, wastewater treatment plant CD renewal.
Okay, we had a CD that is about to be renewed. Last time we had it for 30 months. The interest rate was 1.17%. The rates are very sad. So the 30-month one this time is only 0.75%.
Bless you.
Bless you.
So, just something to keep in mind is we've got this, maybe the centrifuge that we might buy or the thing, so I don't know if you want to go out that far with it.
How long did you say?
So you remember?
Huh?
Within a year?
Within a year?
Yeah, within a year.
Within a year. Closer to a year or closer to 6 months?
6 months.
Yeah. And that is way to be tomorrow.
Well, it's something that's gonna save us money, that's why, it's not that I wanna spend, but, even though Jody will say that, but it's something that if we spend and buy, it's gonna save us a lot of money down the road, and hauling and everything else, so.
And with these interest rates, we're not making a lot of
No.
money,
No.
so maybe we should just do it for the 6 months, so, we don't have to pay any fees if we want the money.
I would make you making that recommendation for 6
Yeah,
months?
mhm.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 9, Holly Street parking. We read that letter before, I'll read it again. Dear Village Board, during Fair Week, Holly Street gets a great deal of traffic, shortcut around South Street. Parking is permissible on both sides of the street, and it makes two-way traffic very difficult. Could this topic be reviewed and perhaps a one side of the street parking be considered? Thank you for the time spent on this matter. Mr. and Mrs. Bruce Henderson.
And what's the policy, Roger? Is there no restriction on parking on Holly?
There isn't. Just for the fair week, we typically go out for no parking signs in certain areas around the fair. Holly Street, we never get a request for for it. So I don't know if they're just talking for just that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that week.
Because we go out, we put the no parking signs out, and that's what the board wants to be, just, continue down one side or the other, there's no parking.
But aren't they in the code that way, though, for that particular week?
I don't remember if it's.
Because I think that one small street is Moore, is it
Moore.
Moore that's first?
Yeah.
That is like that in the code,
South
it's
Street, we generally put them at.
written in the code.
You think Holly is too, or we need to write Holly in? If
It's not in there,
No, okay.
but we would need to do a public hearing
Hearing.
in August, and it's gonna be cutting it close.
Yeah.
Could we couldn't put signs there unless we have it in our code, are you saying?
Well, they wouldn't be able to enforce it if it's not in the code, is that correct?
Oh, okay. You could ask them to move, but you couldn't give a ticket, is that what you're saying, basically?
Ask them to move, that'd be next to impossible. Try to find it.
Yeah. Well, we can have a hearing.
Yeah.
I say that we set a hearing. I would say that we'd ask Roger to get some signs to put up anyway, and hopefully it would deter as much as we can. If we don't get it in time to where we can enforce it, at least we can get signs up that may deter them.
Do we know which side of the street or both that we're gonna mark?
Which
One
side
side
has
or the
more
other.
trees?
You've been here a while, haven't you?
I would say, let Roger take a look at the street
Yeah.
and see where
You
it's
take
gonna
a look
work.
at it,
Public
Roger,
Works
you
make a
determine it. How's
recommendation.
that? This way we can blame you.
I see it's going that direction,
And so we
What-
need a motion to set a public hearing.
Yeah.
I'll move that we have a public hearing to amend village code to include Holly Street during Fair Week.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can we, do we let Henderson's know that that's happening, or do we just let them pick it up on the paper, or do we?
I'll give them a call.
We get back to people?
I'll give them a call, tell them.
So the public hearing's gonna be at the meeting in August.
Right.
Right.
I'll let them know that we're gonna do that,
That is the.
and that we'll do signs with August, and maybe it'll help a little bit.
See, it's tough now that we're cutting down all the trees, there's no place to put the signs.
Let's not go there. Okay, I have nothing else here other than we're gonna go into executive session with police personnel. So,
Make the motion.
make, second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Have a nice evening.
Thanks for your time, board.
Anytime.